lot of the people, your fellow councillors who've come on to council have come from business. They've had their own businesses, or they've been in management and businesses. Now you come at it from education, which is a very different perspective. And what difference do you think that makes in how you perceive things and what you do?
Well, I think it's one of the things that I've been so pleased with is it allows maybe a different direction, a different viewpoint. And it's something where I know right from the start, because I've always worked with younger kids, that's something where I'm always looking at it as for the future. How do we get families to want to come to our community, that want to live in our community? How do they want to stay in our community? And one of the ways of doing that is getting their kids involved in community opportunities. They're our town's future. And rather than having people moving into our community, staying for a couple of years, and then moving out of our town, it's something where we want people to come to realize our location is so close for anywhere you want to go visit, this, that, whatever. But inside our community, we have so many different things for us, for people of all levels, all ages. And it's something where having people want to stay in our community and raise their own family, as my 9-year-olds in my classroom are doing. That's one of the goals that I've always felt is so important.
You seem like very passionate about this idea of people recognizing the importance of Nipawin and our position and how we're a great place to be. So what do you think that we can do to sort of honestly promote that? Because that's, you know, maybe someone else's preview, but just to make this town kind of put us on the map.
Well, and I know just I'm trying to think what month, I think it would have been in August. I'm trying to remember which CAA Manitoba magazine. It was, I think, either the July or August edition. We had a full page spread that was talking about how people can, even though it's pandemic, make trips within the province. And so they were focusing on different communities, different activities for people to do within our province. And so we were focused on that. And so it was wonderful because they talked about things like the bike park. They talked about activities that you can be doing. Of course, Margaret Lawrence Home, things like that, with Arts Forward. And now that things are opening up again, being able to visit. It's such an important thing for, like I said, for people to be able to have such a variety of different activities to be able to do. I know last weekend when the Roxy Theatre opened up again, my kids were just vibrating last week because it was like, Mr. Pudlo, we're going to go to a movie. We haven't been to a movie in so long. And it's one of those things where I've right from the start, love our Roxy Theatre. It's just such a treasure to have in our community. And it's one of those things where I'm so glad to see, you know, things are, I can't use the word returning to normal just yet, but we're on the road to that. And hopefully soon.
So how do we flip that switch then from people tourism visiting Nipawin to staying?
Well, you know, again, having people to have the opportunity to make it feel like they're welcome to come into our community, for them to realize the resources that are out there, whether it be the bike trail, whether it be the tennis courts, whether it be the basketball courts, things like that, to be able to find and have an opportunity for many different employment opportunities. That's one of those things that's so important too. I know looking at the restaurants in town, having the owners that have taken the plunge to open up their own smaller business. And I'm hoping that they're even throughout the pandemic, they've been busy, just because I know that's one thing I was so concerned about when everything shut down, thinking, how are all of these places going to stay open? And I know I've been doing my part to support the takeout industry in our town with things like that.
I feel you there.
It's one of those. Well, it's you know, it's such a concern because we have such a variety of just great businesses and restaurants in our town, and I don't want to lose any of these. I want to keep all of them, and trying to support them as much as possible. You know, you take a look at our dollar store that we have on the corner downtown. Such a great place, because when you need those little knickknacks or here or there, we've got all of those things here. You look at our hardware stores and opportunities to get the materials that you need for whatever right here in town. With our grocery stores, it's just so great to be able to have the businesses we have, but trying to come up with what else do we need? What's something else our town's looking for? What's something else that, again, helping to bring people here in town for?
It's certainly not a question we're going to answer today, but it's definitely food
No.
for thought.
Yes, yeah.
So this is one of the committees that you serve on for council. Are there any others?
Well, the chair of recreation and
Yeah.
economic development, that's been my
That's your
my
baby.
portfolio. So
Yeah.
that includes things like I've been on the board for the Yellowhead Arena for the past 3 years, with Arts Forward as well. Those have been my two major ones as well. And it's been busy. I know, like I said, one of the things we've been looking at is how can we make Riverbend Park bigger, better? Well, we don't have the space, we can't expand that way, but using the space that we have to the fullest of potential. And so that's what we've been looking at. And for the past, I'm going to say probably 2.5 years now, we've been directly looking at the swimming pool, looking at what we need, the things that we're going to need to upgrade on, to be able to improve it, and to get people to want to be able to, again, come from out of town and be able to use it. With the way the parking lot area is right now, it's just not safe. And I know that's been a concern right from the start, where I know I'm usually summer months, I'm out for walks every single day. And it's one of those things where you can just see it's going to be an accident just waiting to happen.
And it's been like that since I was a child. So it's been like that forever.
Absolutely. I've been in town 31 years, and unfortunately it's never changed. And that's part of the plan that we've just released over the past few weeks of how we're going to be moving the parking lot more to the east side of the pool area, and making that more of a green space with walking paths, flower gardens, things like that around there, with potentially a splash park area, things like that as well, just to kind of hopefully remedy some of those issues that we have.
Now that parking lot area, I believe that's the part of the plan that's already funded. So that's definitely going ahead.
Yes.
And some of the other parts is we have a recreation plan that now we need to find the funds to enact it. I think where we're at with some of that now.
Absolutely. And again, this is where I'll mention Marilyn Crew, I'll mention Nicole Cooper, Colleen Titian. They're constantly out there looking for what grants are available, what are things we can apply for to be able to be partially funded for. And that's one of the things that, you know, there's a lot of money out there. You just have to be able to find the right avenue in which we can look at, and they're just amazing at being able to find opportunities for things like that.
So do your students in your class know that you're on council? Do they know what that means?
They do, actually. Yeah, we talked about that both, well, pretty much, I guess, every year we're talking about that. And it's one of those things where they're feeling they're a part of this. I know earlier this week, it was fun, because I said on Wednesday, we had just talked about the swimming, the water slide that we're looking at purchasing and going to be adding in there. And I said to the kids on Wednesday, do you guys want to see what our water slide could look like? And of course they're excited and so on. And I showed them. And so they had the questions of like, when's it going to be installed? And when's everything going to be there? And I explained to them, I said, you know, we're going to get it in as quickly as we possibly can. The kind of the plan that we're looking at right now is hopefully next spring, weather permitting, we're going to be able to get the foundation work that needs to be done. This water slide is not going to be connected to the pool. It's going to be beside the pool. But it's one of those things where we don't want any disruptions with the pool. We need the pool here all summer long, whatever months possible. So we're going to get as much done as we can before the swimming pool season starts. And then if there's any time in the fall after the Labor Day, we'll get whatever we need to get done as well. And then I said, here's the bad news. We've got the water slides going to be hopefully operational in 2023. And I kind of held my breath, because I thought the kids are not going to be happy about this. That means they're going to have to wait another year. And I get emotional over this, because it's something that I was so proud of them, that they realized that, hey, this is such a great thing that's coming. And they said, you know what, Mr. Pudlo, we can wait that extra year. And I was absolutely blown away. I could not get over how they're understanding this is such a great thing we've got coming to the community. And they were, yeah, that's fine. It's great. It's going to be awesome. And, you know, it's funny, like it's throughout the the whole time with my students last year and even the previous year,
Yeah.
whenever I had opportunities to share things with them, you know, they felt they were a part of this. And like I had a chance to share with them what the hopes of and dreams of what our Riverbend Park's going to look like, and they're excited. They love it. The bike park as it was coming to reality. While those students that I had there, they loved it. They were so happy. They couldn't wait to go out there. And I said, you guys are going to be the testers. So I want to know your thoughts when you guys come back and you've tried it. And they're like, yeah, they're telling me the things that, well, maybe Mr. Pudlo, maybe you could do this. Maybe we could do this. And, you know, it's some of those things that I am taking to the council and saying, you know, here's an idea coming from the youthful side of our community that maybe, you know, this is something we should be considering as well. And so again, this, like you asked earlier about, you know, having the educational side of this, I think it's such an important part of why we're such a strong council, because this allows me to hear our future. You know, it gives me a chance to hear what these kids are thinking, you know, and go, you know what, that's an idea. That's something I hadn't thought about, you know, and
so great to
looking
have
at
that
it.
perspective.
It's just, it's like I said, this past 3 years have been a dream. I find the entire 30 years that I've been teaching has been a dream. When I say 30 years, I still, my mind just goes, there's no possible way I've been teaching that long. But it's just, yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's and you know, speaking of the kids still, that's kind of what we're doing now is their future. You know, it's so great to get their input, because we're not just doing this, you know, for ourselves and for the retirees, and that the stuff we're putting in now, these improvements we're making, that's who we're doing it for.
And that's
know?
exactly it. That's what's going to continue to grow our community. You know, looking at trying to get the youth in our community want to stay in our community. I still remember how for many years when I first started teaching in town, you know, talking with grade 12s that were graduating or those that had just left the education system, of how they couldn't wait to get out of town because they wanted to do this, they wanted to do that. And that always just hurt my heart just a little bit, because it's one of those things where, no, we want you to be able to say, you know what, I love my community. I want to stay here. I want to grow here. I want to find opportunities for employment, business, whatever, and want to raise my own family here. And I know hearing stories of people that have said that, you know what, they've moved away when they were young, and now they've come back because they realize the greatness of our community.
You know, and I got, you know, I'm one of them. I graduated 12 at NACI, and I'm like, can't wait to get out of here. Next day, I'm gone. And here I am now, back. So awesome. we do come back.
Yeah.
Some of us eventually.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So now you are a full-time teacher in a bursting to its seams school.
Yes.
So how does the time commitment on council balance with that as well?
It's busy. You know, you put a pandemic in there, you put a flood that unfortunately I became one of those people that was a little more affected. More involved than I needed to be. It has been a very busy time. And it's one of those things, and this goes all the way back to my parents. My parents were always hardworking. They never ever took a break. And it's unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, depending on how you look at it, this is how I grew up. That's from what I knew. My parents, that they would do their full-time jobs during the day. They would come home, they had market garden. And so basically they would come home after putting their full day of work, and they were selling vegetables, they were selling raspberries. And that was something that I guess probably instilled in me as I was a kid as well, because I was helping them and helping to maintain the yard and properties like that. And at 9 years of age, I had my own paper route. And this is just kind of how I've always been, always busy. And so I know that was something that I definitely thought about, thinking, being a counselor, I mean, that's almost like a second full-time job, because there's just so many things, and being brand new to this, learning, I just sort of figured out, you know what, I can do this. I can figure this out. Having 30 years of teaching experience, I guess 27 when I started being a counselor, thinking, you know what, I've done enough years. I think I'll be all right. And it's planning, it's organizing, and it's kind of, as being a counselor, that's what we do anyway. but it's one of those things where I just make sure I'm managing my time so that I know I need to get this done for my students here in the classroom, and I know I need to get this done for our community. And it's one of those things where I've always felt it to be so important to talk with people that are concerned about things, for them to feel comfortable enough to contact me to talk about things. And it's something where, like I've said, I don't have answers all right away for them, but it's one of those things where I'm feeling more comfortable thinking, well, I can ask this person about this, that, whatever, and try to get a better understanding of the situation, the problem, and be able to talk with community members. And I'm hoping that's what the ratepayers, that's what the community feels, is that as a council, that's what we've been able to provide.
You know, you mentioned your very first week on council, people were already sort of coming to you with their concerns and issues. And do you find that people are quite comfortable doing that with you and with other councillors as well?
I think this is where my education background comes, just because I've been involved with so many families at one level or another, whether it's people I know just within the community. I've taught their sons, their daughters, and so on and so forth. And so I think that's definitely been a part of it. When I first started teaching here at HMK, we had 2 classrooms of every grade. And so that basically meant, when I look at I started teaching grade 2 and 3 here at HMK, that meant half of the grade 2s that came to Neepawa, I was teaching. And as many years, I also taught the other class, because Mrs. Ranka, another grade 4 teacher at our school, would come into my classroom to teach French. I would go into her classroom to teach science. And so in some form or another, for many, many years, a lot of the students knew me, which meant I had the opportunity to meet and know many of the parents. And so I think that's probably a part of it. I know the people that had approached me, right, like I said, right from the very first week, knew me as a person that knows that if there's a problem, we need to solve it. And I guess that's probably always been how I am here as a teacher. I've been so fortunate to work with such an amazing staff, but we're a team and we work so well together. And that's something where I've always treated my classroom that way. As the team includes the parents, sometimes may include, our principal or other members that work within our school and school division. And to me, that's always been so important, is to get the student side of it, to get the parent side of it, and together we can be able to solve whatever problems and look after whatever we need to do. And I've just carried that right into being a town councillor as well. So that part I found fairly easy, just because that's how I've always operated, and that's just what I do.
And doing a bit of quick math here, your earliest students would probably be in their late 30s now. Yes. So these now are the people who now have their families, who are running businesses, who are doing that kind of thing. So
absolutely, yeah. I haven't taught any grandchildren yet, but I know it's probably not that far away.
It's on the horizon. Yep.
I know. Yes.
So we've touched on this a bit in a few different areas, but what is your vision for Neepawa sort of going into the future, 5, 10, 20 years down the road?
Well, basically looking at our future, I mean, we need to continue to grow. Housing has been a concern. It's going to continue to be a concern. And I know that's something we're looking at as a council, is how can we find opportunities for more housing to take place. Something so very important. If we want our community to grow, we've got to have an opportunity for people to live here. And so that's definitely something that we're looking at, many different areas of things that we're considering right now. I would love to see a brand new hospital in our community. And I know that's one thing that's been on the topic for many, many, many years now. And again, as we're looking and as we're approaching and as we're getting ready to become a city, what better opportunity would that be than to have one of those facilities right here in our community? It's just continuing to bring in more businesses. Having such a major industry such as High Life is awesome, but it's something we're looking to see what other opportunities, what are other businesses that we can continue to bring into our community. And like I said, having those people driving to Winnipeg, driving to Brandon, realizing you know what, we live in Minnedosa, we should be coming to Neepawa. This is where we need to come to pick up whatever it is we need to look at. Or if you live in Dauphin, realizing that, you know what, rather than going to Winnipeg, stopping here in Neepawa, because we can get the supplies, the materials, the whatever it is you're looking for. And again, being such a centrally located, right on a major highway, we couldn't ask for a better location to be able to provide these. Having our RCMP new buildings very, very soon is going to be great. Having our fire department is awesome, but it's something that, like I said, looking for more recreational opportunities, not only tennis, not only pickleball, but maybe there's going to be other things. Definitely basketball courts. I know that's one thing we need to make sure we have more of. And that's something hopefully very soon we'll be able to announce more coming.
So do you think there's sort of an upper limit to where we're going to go with the town, or would you see it continuing to sort of reach out maybe a critical mass and keep expanding?
Oh, I'm hoping it's going to keep expanding. I don't ever wanted to see our community at a limit. That's one of those things that I think in order for a community to continue to grow, is just such a great thing. It's one of those, I'm hoping it's going to continue to grow and continue to grow. And that may bring in more problems, but it's something where, again, hopefully working as a strong team, as councillors, as a community, we're going to be able to look at those problems, go, yeah, you know what, here's a problem we have. What can we do? And definitely it's going to be questions we'll have that can't be answered right away. But again, being part of that strong team, working together to be able to find a solution.
Yeah, and we've kind of already seen that to some degree. 15 years ago to now, we have probably very nearly doubled in size, which is an astonishing thing to think about when you do the math. We were at, probably down around 3,200 at our lowest point, I would guess. So, so that's where we're at right now. And that's, 10, 15 years.
Nope, you're right.
So last question for you here. If there's one thing that you could tell people they would like them to know about serving on council, what would it be?
Oh, one thing. Okay. It's just been, well, it's just been such a tremendous opportunity. That this is one of those things, like I said, walking into the town office the very first day, being terrified, probably almost every day since I'm walking in still terrified, but it's just been such a tremendous experience, meeting new people, having an opportunity to work with people at so many different ways, doing so much learning. And part of the reason why I've been a teacher is because I love learning, and I try to inspire to the kids that, it's fun to learn and never stop learning. And right within my classroom, that's kind of how I've always been. My parents were learners. They were constantly reading and always being busy and things like that. And that just kind of transpired right into me. And that's kind of how I am. It's such a great opportunity for anyone that thinks they have any interest. Oh, I hope you'll, talk to me and ask me questions about it, or get in touch with people at the town office. It's just been such a valued experience. And although it's been very challenging with pandemic, with our flood that we experienced in town, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
No problem. Thank you so much.